one of the key components for the corridor plan is managing stormwater, and that's the water that's conveyed off our built landscape. So in the urban setting, we do a great job of putting hard surfaces on the landscape, roofs, roads, driveways, sidewalks, parking lots. And when rain falls, it all runs off those surfaces, and if it's not managed properly, it all runs into the Kinni River. And what that means is excess water, excess heat coming off those surfaces, and all of the fluids of various types that come off those surfaces. So one of the key differences of ecology in an urban environment is how it's impacted by stormwater runoff. So I think I just start with that.
Urbanization in a watershed, you have those impervious surfaces put down, you have different types of land use practices, whether it's agriculture outside the city, or within the city, you have people maintaining lawns. Then you have precipitation events. All the things that you're doing on that land is now being carried by the precipitation runoff into the stream. So in an urban setting, you're going to have potential more toxicants running into the stream because of precipitation events. That could be anything from different types of heavy metals that happen to occur in urban areas. You have these PAHs, or polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, that can run off into streams, or different pesticides, herbicides. So you have that type of stressor that occurs on a fish population that otherwise would in an undeveloped, non-urban setting.
So we looked at, so just to back up a little bit, so rivers move water obviously, but their primary job is to move sediment, if you want to look at it that way. So they move sediment, all of them do, and anytime you put a dam in a river, it's eventually going to fill up with sediment most of the time. So no matter how big that dam is, or how small that river is, or how big that river is. And this river is no exception. It's moving sand and fines, and they have deposited in the two impoundments. And so over the years, they have filled up to some degree. What's nice about it is that most of it is sand. Contaminants tend to adhere to clay in really, really fine particles. Sand does not hang on to contaminants very well. And so, consequently, the contaminant numbers that we got were very low. There are some trace metals in there, and some polyaromatic hydrocarbons, which are, there's a long list of characters there, all derivatives of gasoline and oil. So if you have an urban area and you drive cars in that urban area, you're going to have polyaromatic hydrocarbons. It's an unfortunate consequence of our civil pollution. The good thing is that dams actually collect all that stuff for us and make it easy to remove. It's kind of nice. If the dam stays or goes, you can still get rid of some of that contamination. Luckily, though, here, one of the cleanest, or two of the cleanest impoundments I've seen, and I've done a lot of sampling of dams.
I think we're having a more frequent presence of very large rain events. I think many of you have noticed that too, but these 100-year floods are coming at frequencies sooner than 100 years, a couple years, and the same for 1,000-year floods. So those rain events the magnitude of those rain events can really shape river channels, cause a lot of erosion, habitat destruction, and obviously they have implications for the volume of water that's coming into the system, the amount of stormwater that's being generated during those events. So those drivers are really an important consideration, and that seems to be, based on my observations and precipitation records, one of the changes that's been occurring throughout the watershed. Kayaktawish has been monitoring stream temperatures for 20 years, 25 years, I guess. We started in 1992, so we have a, not geologically, but for my lifetime, it's a pretty long record of temperatures at 8 stations.
The image on the screen actually shows the monitoring stations. In fact, I told Kent when he came into the room, and Gary Horvath is out here as well, we were all in that picture back in 1992 when the first thermal monitoring.
So in the short term, it's probably not a lot to go on with regard to climate change and temperature trends. There are many other climate signals out there locally and globally that suggest it's happening. And based on our 25-year period of record, river temperatures are increasing based on the information that we've got available.
Since I'm a geologist and I take a long view on everything, I would say understand what the river was before. Understand how it's evolved over the last 13,000 years, why River Falls was here in the first place, and then treat the river like a system. It's a system that is still moving towards some end point that you might not understand. And anything you do in the 6-mile reach is going to affect the upstream and the downstream end of the corridor. So even though your planning area is only 6 miles long, it will impact the whole watershed. And I like to think of watersheds as kind of the river is kind of the vascular system of your body. And you could, in a crisis, put a stent in and make blood move more freely through a constriction. But that body's unhealthy, and so you have to treat the whole body. You have to have paid attention to the whole body. And the river's the same way. We can do some minor things right here in the 6-mile corridor, but it's really the whole watershed approach that works best.